May the Triple Gem bless you all. The Dhamma sermon based on the book The Explanation of the Factors of Enlightenment from the series of Dhamma books authored by Most Venerable Rerukane Chandavimala Thero is titled by Mekala Niwena Bana. Today we are respectfully invite our Venerable Sandalankawe Kalyanadassana Thero to deliver Dhamma sermon. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Today Dhamma sermon is sponsored by Mr. Saman Kumara along with his wife and daughter. So now we are respectfully invite Venerable Sandalankawe Kalyanadassana Thero to deliver Dhamma sermon. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa.
Buddhaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi.
Buddhaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi.
Dhammaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi.
Dhammaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi.
Saṅඝaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi.
Saṅඝaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi.
Dutiyampi buddhaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi.
Dutiyampi buddhaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi.
Dutiyampi dhammaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi.
Dutiyampi dhammaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi.
Dutiyampi saṅඝaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi.
Dutiyampi saṅඝaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi.
Tatiyampi buddhaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi.
Tatiyampi buddhaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi.
Tatiyampi dhammaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi.
Tatiyampi dhammaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi.
Tatiyampi saṅඝaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi.
Tatiyampi saṅඝaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi.
Saranāgamaṇaṃ sampunnaṃ
Āmabante
Pānātipātā vēramaṇī sikkāpadaṃ samādiyāmi.
Pānādipātā vēramaṇī sikkāpadaṃ samādiyāmi.
Adinādānā vēramaṇī sikkāpadaṃ samādiyāmi.
Adinādānā vēramaṇī sikkāpadaṃ samādiyāmi.
Kāmesu miccācārā vēramaṇī sikkāpadaṃ samādiyāmi.
Kāmesu miccācārā vēramaṇī sikkāpadaṃ samādiyāmi.
Musāvādā vēramaṇī sikkāpadaṃ samādiyāmi.
Musāvādā vēramaṇī sikkāpadaṃ samādiyāmi.
Surāmēraya majjapamā daṭṭhānā vēramaṇī sikkāpadaṃ samādiyāmi.
Surāmēraya majjapamā daṭṭhānā vēramaṇī sikkāpadaṃ samādiyāmi.
තිසරණේන සද්දින් පංචශීලං ධම්මං සාදුකං සුරක්ඛිතං කତ୍වා අප්පමාදේන සම්පාදේ තබ්බං.
Āmabante sādhu sādhu sādhu.
සමන්තා චක්කවාලේසු අත්‍රා ගච්ඡන්තු දේවතා සද්ධම්මං මුනි රාජස්ස සුනන්තු සග්ග මොක්ඛදං. ධම්මස්සවන කාලෝ අයං බදන්තා. ධම්මස්සවන කාලෝ අයං බදන්තා. ධම්මස්සවන කාලෝ අයං බදන්තා. නමෝ තස්ස භගවතෝ අරහතෝ සම්මා සම්බුද්දස්ස. නමෝ තස්ස භගවතෝ අරහතෝ සම්මා සම්බුද්දස්ස. නමෝ තස්ස භගවතෝ අරහතෝ සම්මා සම්බුද්දස්ස. යේ කේචිතිරච්ඡාන ගතා පානාසී හෝතේ සංමිගරාජා අග්ගමක්ඛායති යදිදං තාමේන ජවේන සුරියේන ඒවමේව කෝ භික්ඛවේ ඒකේචි බෝධිපක්ඛියා ධම්මා පඤ්ඤින්ද්‍රියං තේසං අග්ගමක්ඛායති යදිදං බෝධායති. With respect to the most venerable Mahasangha, dear devotees and Dhamma friends, today also we welcome you to yet another Dhamma sermon related to the factors of enlightenment. As you all know, we are delivering this Dhamma discussion or Dhamma sermon using the book as a guidance which is written by the Rerukane Chandavimala Mahanayaka Thero. The name of the book is The Explanation of the Factors of Enlightenment. Now here we are discussing the 37 factors of enlightenment. Dear devotees, now these are conducive to Nibbana, to attain the enlightenment. A seeker, a practitioner should follow these 37 factors of enlightenment. The easy thing, the convenient thing in this practice is whenever you develop at least one enlightenment factors in you, then simultaneously all the other enlightenment factors will develop in you. So that is one advantage. So having said that, let's go directly to the today's topic. Dear devotees, now in last Dhamma sermon we have started the discussion of Panchendriya, which is known as the 5 spiritual faculties. Now in last episode we have covered the first 3 spiritual faculties. If I brief them, so what are the 5 spiritual faculties? Saddha, Viriya, Sati, Samadhi, Panya. In English we know them as Saddha, the confidence, and Viriya, the striving or the energy. Sati means the mindfulness, then the concentration means the Samadhi, and finally the wisdom, which is known as the Panya. So these 5 spiritual faculties, now those are very important because now whenever you are engaged in the development of your spiritual life, now these are the roots, now these are the faculties from which you are anchored onto the spiritual path. In fact, dear devotees, now despite the spiritual life, but now if you are a layperson, if you are maintaining a household life, or at least you may be a student, now these faculties are very important. If you have the faith or the confidence on whatever your goal is, then if you have the energy or the virya, then also if you have the mindfulness on your activities or the practice, and the concentration, if you can focus well, if you can pay attention in a very high manner, a very good manner, so then you can attain your goal, you can obtain your goal. And for all these things, wisdom is required. So you should know which is good and which is bad. So having that wisdom, having that panya with you, in order to achieve a life goal or maybe a goal in your working environment, in your organization, now if you practice these things up to a certain level, that is very worthwhile. But now here in this context we are going in deeper levels in order to liberate from this harsh journey of samsara. Dear devotees, we have to cultivate these 5 spiritual faculties in our mind. So last day we discussed with you the first 3. First one is the saddha, the confidence. Now you should have the confidence on the Lord Buddha and Supreme Dhamma and Supreme Sangha, virtues of Lord Buddha and so on. You should have the confidence in those virtues of the Lord Buddha and the Dhamma, and as well as the Bhikkhu order. And also you should have confidence in the training, threefold training, Sila, Samadhi, Panya. And if you develop the confidence, the faith on the triple gem and also on the training, then that training will be developed in you. You can easily carry out the training, threefold training without any hesitation, without any lagging, because now faith is the thing, that the basement. Now with that foundation, if you have a very high faith on the triple gem and on your training, then on that foundation you can build your spiritual path, so spiritual life. So next, with that faith, dear devotees, now a particular seeker or practitioner should possess the energy, so called the striving. So what for? The striving is to eradicate or abandon the unwholesome and also the cultivate the wholesome. So in order to develop the wholesome states in your mind and also to extirpate or abandon these unwholesomeness from your mind, so you should have the energy, you should have the courage. So that is what we call the virya. And also when you develop like that manner, next comes the mindfulness, so which is known as the sati. So mindfulness, that is the awareness. Whenever you have the awareness, so you know now this is wrong, this is bad, and also you know this is wholesome, this is unwholesome. So then you can overcome the unwholesomeness and also you can develop the wholesomeness. So this is the way. Now dear devotees, now today's topic is the samadhi. The samadhi indriya, also known as in English we call the concentration. Now if I ask you a question, dear devotees, have you ever tried to develop your samadhi? Have you ever started the meditation? You know, in our doctrine there are two methods of concentration. One is known as the samatha, in fact the samatha meditation, and the other one is the insight meditation, vipassana or vidarshana. So by carrying out the samatha meditation especially, you can develop the samadhi concentration. You know, this concentration also have different stages. You might be a beginner or maybe you are a quite practiced well meditator, but despite that you might have these stages in your meditation sessions. What are they? First thing is the parikamma samadhi, which is known as the practice concentration. The second one is called the upachara samadhi, the access concentration. The third one is known as the full the concentration, also called the arpana appana samadhi. So now in last couple of episodes in Dhamma sermons, we have discussed with you in related to the concentration, always you should reflect on your path and you should find out, you should reflect what are the stages that so far you couldn't achieve related to the context of concentration. You know, if a particular person have started meditation somehow, that means still he is in the practice concentration period or practice concentration level. So when this parikamma samadhi is developed further and further, you know, one day that particular person or the practitioner will reach into the upachara level. You know, upachara level means the very close to the full concentration, which is, that is why it is called the access concentration. You know, when there is upachara samadhi arises, now you know the counter signs appear. We call that one as the patibhaga nimitta. So dear devotees, now under the breathing meditation practice, under the anapanasati meditation, under establishment of mindfulness of body as body, we have discussed these facts. So you can again watch those videos, those episodes, so then you can have the insight on what is upachara samadhi. So now dear devotees, now why this is called indriya, why this is called a faculty? You know, normally we have the sense faculties like ears, nose, eyes and all, and the same manner here according to the doctrine, now this faith and confidence and also the virya, striving, and sati, the mindfulness, next comes the samadhi, concentration, and finally the wisdom. Why they are called indriya? Because now they act as leaders. You know, the indriya, the term, Pali term, has the meaning of the leadership. You know, dear devotees, what the leaders do, now they control others. Now how they control? they ask others to do their own works. Now this is not in this case. Now bad leaders might force to the others to do certain chores or the works, but now good leaders they nicely ask others, now they are subordinates or the other parties, to carry out whatever the function what these leaders need to do. So that actually first thing is the leader, they keep others under his or her leadership, and the other thing is they suppress the opponents. Under the patronage or under the guidance of a leader, we are quite protected. The other party, the subordinates are quite protected under the leader. Why? Because now leader knows which ones are the opponents, now who are the opponents, now they should be suppressed, and according to a particular goal, the leader has a mission and a vision. So this Indriya, in the same manner, dear devotees, what they do, they also keep the others under their leadership, and also they suppress the opponents. Now in this case, dear devotees, now when you come to the spiritual path, spiritual life, now we have the defilements, mana, the conceit, the greediness or the craving, so-called the tanha, and these things should be suppressed, so that the Indriya, when they are present, they suppress these defilements. While suppressing the defilements, now they have the control on this mind. So that's why these leadership for what we call the Indriya, they are having them is a must to achieve the supreme bliss of Nibbana. Dear devotees, if we go to this profound book written by the Rerukane Mahathero, now Thero has given now what is the spiritual faculty of concentration. Now it is given like this way, I quote: the spiritual faculty of concentration is the establishment of mind on one particular object and the nature of its domination. This concentration, ekaggata, that is one of the chetasika or mental object, dear devotees, now that is needed, that arises along with the consciousness. With the chitta, these chetasikas arise. Each and every consciousness, there is an element of this concentration. So without concentration, now there is no purpose or no function of the chitta. But the thing is, in order to understand these deeper matters like nama and rupa, we call mind and the form, we need to have high level of concentration. So this mere concentration is insufficient. So that's why whenever you meditate, whenever you carrying out a meditation session, your mind flits. Now it toggles from one object to another, it switches. Now why? That is because we are maybe the practitioner is not having a high level of concentration. In fact, there is no the faculty of concentration. There is no the samadhi indriya. So dear devotees, you can understand that when you start a meditation, if the meditation flow is very precise, that without any distractions, without any disturbance, if you can carry out the meditation for a longer period, maybe over the course of 1 hour or maybe 2 hours, if you can expand the duration for the meditation without any disturbance, that means you have developed the faculty of concentration or the samadhi indriya up to a certain level, high standard level. So then, but don't become, hesitated, or don't be upset that still you couldn't achieve that much of higher degree of concentration. But beginners, now remember that how we learn to ride a bicycle, how you have started schooling, how you start any kind of thing. Maybe you are a housewife now, how you started cooking. Right now at the beginning there were mistakes and errors always. Now to achieve some higher level of competency, at the beginning each and every practitioner, whatever the goal, whatever the objective, there are failures, right? So but now a failure or error means now that is a trial. We learn by trial and errors. So the same manner, during the meditation, initially you might have errors. Now you may not calm your mind onto a particular object. For instance, now if you are carrying out the breathing meditation, it might be very difficult for you to concentrate, you to focus on the breathing. Now that is normal. But you have started it. Now that is worth. Now that is the important thing. Not the time, but how much you have developed by your meditation. And dear devotees, now this persistency, or that the perseverance, persistently you have to carry out your practice. Otherwise you can't gain any achievements. Now there's a famous saying that no pain, no gain. Again, dear devotees, now it is given in Rerukane Thero's book, the consciousness cannot arise without concentration. But that frail concentration which is in each and every consciousness and of each person is not sufficient enough to practice meditation to gain jhana and all. So now by having a very shallow concentration, you can't gain those jhanic level. So now in the samadhi, or we call the concentration, jhana or full concentration means the higher level. So in our doctrine, jhana we categorize them into 8 different kinds. Now first jhana, second one, and third, fourth likewise. Then to the first 4 is named as the rupavachara jhana. Then the second category is known as the arupavachara jnana. Now namely they are called akasananchayatane, viññānañchayatane, akiñcanyayatane, nevasanya, nasanyayatane. So dear devotees, now these 2 different categories, now they are higher levels. Now initially in order to achieve the higher degrees of jhanic levels like arupavachara jhana, now this is the order you should follow. The first you have to develop the first jhana, then you have to go to the second jhana, third jhana, fourth jhana, and to the arupavachara level. The thing is, as I told you earlier, now perseverance or the consistently you have to carry out your practice. Now suppose someone anyhow a particular person has by striving very hard, he has achieved or gained the first jhana. After gaining the first jhana, if he stop practicing further, if he give up all his meditation, then he will lose it. So then he will have to begin, he will have to develop that particular jhana again from the beginning. So it is just like developing or generating fire. In ancient times, how they generate the fire? By rubbing 2 fire sticks. But now it should be done until the fire emerge from that rubbing process. Now if a particular person rubs the 2 sticks for maybe 30 minutes or maybe 10 minutes, then stops and go for another gig or another errand. then comes back and start the rubbing the 2 sticks again. Again, after a couple of minutes later, he goes for another work. So likewise, now he never will be able to generate fire. The same manner, dear devotees, now in our spiritual path also, now you have to maintain, you have to have the discipline, you should have a principle in your life. Now this is what we call the spiritual life. Now this is should be developed in me persistently. So then, dear devotees, now Rerukane Thero has given in this book, according to the Lord Buddha's discourses, Kattacha bhikkave samadindriyan dattabbang chatusu janesu etta samadindriyan dattabbang. So dear devotees, now we should know, according to the Lord Buddha's doctrine, what is meant as the samadhi indriya. So here Lord Buddha has given chatusu janesu. So if the particular person can develop at least this rupavachara jhana, first, second, third and fourth, now at that level, that particular person has developed this samadhi indriya, so the faculty of concentration. So now I already told you now the steps for reaching these chatusu janesu or 4 jhanic levels is the preparatory concentration, then the access concentration and the full concentration. So this concentration, ultimately we reach to the jhanic level. To develop up to that jhanic level, initial indriya, what we have discussed in the previous Dhamma discussion, that is very important. What? The faith or the confidence we call the saddindriya. The second one is the virindriya, the faculty of striving, and the third one the satindriya, the faculty of mindfulness. Now that is what we should discuss related to the faculty of concentration, samadhi indriya. So in this context, the last one is the panyindriya, the faculty of wisdom. You know, out of all these 5 faculties, the panyindriya, so called, which is known as the wisdom, that is the most important one. You know, at the beginning I have recited the Gatha. So in that Pali Gatha, the Lord Buddha has given Sayyatapi bhikkave yekechi tirachana gata pana siho tesam migaraja aggamakkayati. So the meaning is, dear devotees, just as among all beasts, wild animals, the lion is the best of energy, speed and skill. You know, in the forest nowadays also, the lion is the most foremost one, the best one, because it has the very high energy, and the speed and the skill is very high with compared to the other beast. So the same manner, yekechi bodhipakkhya dhamma panyindriyan tesang aggamakkayati yadidam bodhaya. So for the bodhaya, in the sense, for the enlightenment, for the attainment of enlightenment, dear devotees, the wisdom is the best of all other spiritual faculties. So now when a particular person has the wisdom or panya, he knows what is suitable, he knows what is unsuitable for the development of spiritual life, and he knows what is wholesome, what is unwholesome. He has the right view, which is known as the samma ditti. Samma ditti, whenever that is present, delusion is eradicated. Now in order to abandon the delusion, it has to develop, the particular person has to develop the view. Now to straighten the one's own view, this panyindriya is very much important. So if we go to the Rerukane Thero's well-written book, Thero has written like this manner: the mind can cognize everything, but it has no clear knowledge of anything. It is just like the sight of a person who has weak sight. For such person, though can see many things, none of them is clear as clear to the person who has good sight. Now with compared to the person who is having poor vision, now person who is having good vision, he can see well. So there is a certain thing which merge with the mind to see things clearly and correctly. So even though when you come to the spiritual life, whenever we see the object, normal people or ordinary people, unadvised people, now how they see the objects, how they see the forms with the defilements. Like whenever they see an object or a person, he sees it as a subha. Now this is very good, now this is beautiful, now this is gorgeous, now this one is handsome. Like that way, that manner, this ordinary people takes the sight. But now when there is the wisdom, when there is the panya, normally the practitioner, well-read one who follows the Lord Buddha's doctrine, he knows now this is impermanent, now this is very temporary, now this beauty, now this handsomeness, now that is very temporary thing. So it changes. Now that is what we call the impermanence. Next, now even though that sight might give the pleasure, that practitioner, the seeker, knows now due to that changing, due to the impermanence, there is the dukkha, and also there is no self. Now this is anicca, dukkha, anatta, we call the tilakkana, that whenever a noble person sees or gets the sight on a wheel, so then he looks on that particular object according to the tilakkana, anicca, dukkha, anatta. So this is what we ultimately achieve. This is the thing, this is the nature, this is the wisdom, in fact, ultimately we should achieve, dear devotees. Now if you can understand properly the impermanence nature, the suffering, also called unsatisfactoriness, the dukkha, and as well as the non-selfness, we can say the anatta, the nature. So then that is how we develop our insight. That is how we develop our insight. So now by doing the insight meditation, you can develop these three signatas, what we call the tilakkana. So dear devotees, from time to time that wisdom arises in the ordinary person's mind as well. But in their wisdom, it has no power of seeing things as they are. Let's take for instance, now whenever you see a dead body, whenever you go to a funeral, you will have some wisdom or panya along with the mindfulness. Now I am also a person, one day gonna die. I am also subjected to this impermanence nature. But the thing is, now after a certain while, that wisdom fades, that panya fades. Why? Because that the ordinary people, now they don't practice this wisdom. So this faculty of wisdom, panyindriya, that is one particular thing, dear devotees, we have to practice on. So the thing is, weak faculty of wisdom is not sufficient. For that purpose, one must have the sharp wisdom in order to carry out this insight meditation for a prolonged period of time, but to adequate amount of time in order to carry out the meditation for an adequate amount of time, maybe 1 hour or at least 2 hours. So then that particular person should have very sharp wisdom. So to gain supramundane path, one should have more sharpened, well developed and bright wisdom. What is called the spiritual faculty of wisdom in the factors of enlightenment is the wisdom faculty that was well developed and cultivated for the purpose of serenity and insight. So, dear devotees, now serenity means the samadhi or tranquility. To develop the samadhi and to develop the vipassana, the insight, now this faculty of wisdom, panyindriya, is a must. Not a weaker one, but strengthened one. So, now what we can ultimately achieve by developing the samadhi, or we call the samadhi bhavana, by practicing the samatha bhavana, also known as the serenity meditation or tranquility meditation. There are many different forms, many different names, but anyway they denote the same thing. Now ultimately, by practicing the samatha bhavana, you can develop the knowledge or the wisdom. You can achieve these higher levels of knowledge. What are they? The ending of the development of the wisdom developed by concentration meditation, samadhi meditation, is gaining different types of knowledge such as miraculous power. Maybe telepathy or teletransportation or teleportation. Likewise, now different powers, miraculous powers, you can gain by developing the samatha meditation. Some can create the things, some can move from here to there without seeing, and also they can dive in the soil. Likewise, a person dives in the water. The same manner, once these miraculous powers are developed, have been developed, now then that particular practitioner can dive in the soil, just like in water. Then he can levitate himself. These are the miraculous powers. Then the next thing is the divine ear. Dear devotees, now he can hear the noises and the voices far away distances. So normally we can't hear them to the normal eye, but now if that particular person can develop the divine ear, he can hear the noises and voices from the far away distances. And the divine eye, that also the deities, the heavenly beings, now they can see the things happening somewhere else. The same manner, there are no obstacles. Now he can see the things what is happening beyond that particular vision or visual region of that particular seeker. Now he can easily see the things. And as well as now this divine eye, Dibba Chakku, also can be elaborated like this way. He can see the beings, how they die and how they are reborn in different realms. Now those who have done the bad deeds, now they are being born in woeful realms, and those who have done the good deeds, the meritorious deeds, now they will be born in good realms like the heavens. So that is what you call the divine eye. That is one of the knowledge, dear devotees, that you can develop by practicing this samatha meditation. Then reading others' mind, parachitta vijanana, and recollecting the previous birth. Now that is what we call pubbe nivasanussati jnana. Seeing beings how they are born in different realms according to their karma. So it is called chutupamata jnana, also known as the divine eye. Then so these are the ultimate goals you can gain, you can obtain by developing the samatha meditation. So for the vipassana insight meditation, ultimately you will develop the spiritual knowledge. So attainment of wisdom of the supramundane paths and fruitions, stream enterer, once returner, non-returner, and the arahantship. Now these are the maggas and palas, that the paths and fruitions. Now those can be developed by practicing the insight meditation, vipassana meditation. So at the end of this spiritual path, how this enlightenment is achieved, how the particular seeker attained the enlightenment. Now here the spiritual faculty of wisdom should be seen in the Four Noble Truths. So finally that particular practitioner will be able to understand the Four Noble Truths. You know the Four Noble Truths, namely the suffering, the origin of suffering, cessation of suffering, and the path leading to the cessation of suffering, dukkha satya, samudaya satya, nirodha satya, and magga satya. So when these Four Noble Truths are fully understood, that particular person will become an arahant or a saint. So that is the ultimate goal. So dear devotees, now these indriya, especially this panyendriya, that is the foremost one out of all these 5 spiritual faculties, and the concentration also very important. For the concentration and the panya, so called the wisdom, these two are supported by the first 3 indriya faculties. So that is the faith, saddha, viriya, striving, and sati, so called, which is known as the mindfulness. So ultimately that by the support of first 3, it develops the samadhi, then again that develops the wisdom. So wisdom cut off all the defilements in that particular person. So dear devotees, now this is the way that this is the path. It is very clear. Lord Buddha has clearly mentioned, if you can follow this way, once you become virtuous by having the faith and confidence on the triple gem and the training, then you can attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana. So that is the end of the discussion of 5 spiritual faculties. In this Rerukane Mahathero's well-written book, Thero has given how to practice these 5 spiritual faculties. You can read the book for the further details. So that what are the benefits of meditation on the spiritual faculties. So dear devotees, Lord Buddha has given them, mentioned them in the discourses in Samyukta Nikaya, Vagga Sutta. If that particular person can develop these 5 spiritual faculties thoroughly with very high degree, so then definitely he can attain the arahantship. So if that particular person has quite relatively weakened indriya or faculties, he will end up with the anagami level, the non-returner level. Even weaker ones can attain the sakadagami level. So the quite below level ones now attain the stream entry level. Then also Dhammanusari, finally the Saddhanusari. So and this is worthwhile. So always now these are very beneficial. There is nothing to put away. So dear devotees, now it is your duty. Again we emphasize, we suggest you to develop these, at least one of the spiritual faculties in you. Then you will realize the importance in these spiritual faculties and how to develop your spiritual path. So this is very practical thing, not just to listen, not just to reflect, but also to carry out the practice. So maintain your discipline, maintain your make a principle that you have to develop this or these 5 spiritual faculties by allowing or allocating at least 1 hour for during your day-to-day activities, at least 1 hour allocation of time for the meditation, and you can develop these spiritual faculties. So having said that, we bless you all. May you all attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana by developing these factors of enlightenment in your life, spiritual life. So let us transfer today's merits that we have collected by this meritorious deed. So this noble act is contributed by Mr. Saman Kumar of Gampaha, his wife Mrs. Champika, their daughter Harshani, and all others involved. May Mrs. Champika, who is currently unwell, be blessed with a swift and complete recovery along with enduring good health. May every member of the family be free from illness and enjoy strength and vitality. May all be granted continuous progress, protection, and boundless blessing. So we also extend our prayers for the full recovery and lasting health of Mother W.M. Somawati and Mother Jayawati, who are presently ailing condition. May Mr. Dinesh Saparamadu and his entire family be blessed with robust health and ever-growing prosperity. Furthermore, may the Senate Group of Companies, Colombo 7, Apigo Company, and Aplova Company thrive and prosper endlessly. Moreover, may the abundant merits accumulated through this noble deed be dedicated to all your departed loved ones, including the late A.L. Somapala, father, A.L. Vasanta Kumara, the brother, K.D.G. Saparamadu, the father, and also the mother Aryavati Saparamadu. May they all attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana and eternal peace. May peace, wellness, and happiness illuminate your lives always. May the boundless blessings of the sacred triple gem be with you all. Akasatta Chibummatta Devanaga Mahiddika Punyantang Anumoditva Chiran Rakhantu Sasanam. Akasatta Chibummatta Devanaga Mahiddika Punyantang Anumoditva Chiran Rakhantu Desanam. Akasatta Chibummatta Devanaga Mahiddika Punyantang Anumoditva Chiran Rakhantu Mamparanti. Abhivadana Silissa Nichang Vadda Pajayino Chattaro Dhamma Vaddanti Ayuvanno Sukhambalang Ayurarogya Sampatti Sagga Sampatti Mevacha Ato Nibbana Sampatti Minate Samijjatu.